I'm Mariam Gavtadze from Toleranc and Diversity Institute. The organization is the member of Coalition for Equality. The coalition made joint submission for the UPR. I will speak about two topics. One is freedom of religion and belief and the rights of religious minorities in Georgia, and another is racism, rights of migrants, and the rise of extremist and populist groups in Georgia. As for religious freedom in Georgia, there are many systemic problems that has been underlined by the public defender, by religious communities and the civil society organizations on many occasions, but they are not addressed by the government properly. I will underline as the problems related to the property rights of religious communities, the unsecular environment in Georgia's public schools, investigation of the crimes committed, hate crimes committed on the ground of religious intolerance, also the discrimination in the legislation and the state policy. As for the state policy, the good reflection, what is the approach of the state towards religious minority communities, we can discuss it, how the State Agency for Religious Issues is functioning and what is the role and what is the attitude of the agency towards religious minority communities in Georgia. The agency that was set up under the Prime Minister's office in 2014 chose not to base its activities on human rights and freedom of religion, and it looks at religious minority communities from security perspective, and it has proven it on many occasions. That is why we recommend that the state agency has to be abolished, and instead the government has to increase its cooperation with the Council of Religions that is functioning under the Public Defender's Ombudsperson's Office of Georgia. Another problem, the discrimination in Georgian legislation. I will underline mainly the state property law and the tax legislation, which is utterly discriminatory towards religious groups. Only the Georgian Orthodox Church enjoys certain rights and privileges while others cannot. That is why the Parliament has to address this problem promptly and to eliminate discrimination in the Georgian legislation. As for the property rights, the restitution of the property for religious minority communities confiscated during the Soviet times is very problematic, and also when the religious minority groups try to build new places of worship, they face many artificial obstacles from the state. That is why the state has to eliminate all kind of discrimination and to resolve all property-related problems for religious minority organizations. As for racism, it has become very problematic during the last years, and the rise of extremism and populist groups has proven that there is a lack of the government, there is a lack of will to address the activities of these extremist groups. In 2018, the members of such groups murdered a young human rights activist, Vitaly Safarov. Another problem faced by foreign nationals in Georgia, especially these are people from African, Asian and Arabic countries, is when they try to get residence permits in Georgia. Very often the state's response is negative, and the reason of the reason for rejection is national security concern, while the state cannot prove in fact why the national security concern is so important in so many cases, in 99% of the cases of rejection. That is why we recommend that the state should elaborate very clear anti-racism policy and to implement it in investigative institutions and in all levels of the governments. Also to eliminate discriminatory approach towards foreign nationals when they try to get residence permits, asylum and so on. This is very briefly that I wanted to underline very briefly the systemic problems related to freedom of religion and racism, and you can find more in our joint submission of the Coalition for Equality that is available at the UPR Info's website. I'm really grateful for your attention, and I'm looking forward to further cooperation. Thank you.